what about your own hand, Raleigh? Every time you look at your own hands, Raleigh, think about it. You would never want to cut off yourself to feed yourself to a dog.
Hey bitch, and welcome back to me talking about people I hate. Oh, you know, I thought I was done. I thought I was done making videos about that vegan teacher, but no, Karen doesn't stop, because the Karens of the world never stop.
You fail.
Before we get any further into this video, I want to say a massive thank you to this video's sponsor, which is Link Equestrian, my company. Obviously, we sell animal activist and equine activist apparel. That link is down below. You know, that vegan teacher is such a troll that from time to time, I really can't tell if she's being serious or if she's just trying to get views, because anybody who's a real activist like myself makes actual videos trying to educate the public instead of just nothing but videos on trying to pick apart other vegans. I don't give a fuck what other vegans do and how they live their lives. If somebody is vegan, cool, good for them. If they're not, cool, good for them. All I'm here to do is educate people and help put people on a better path. But what really bothers me is the vegans that go around policing people. Let people figure out their own diets. Let people figure things out on their own and get comfortable on their own. You don't have to police every single thing that people do. If somebody says they're vegan, just let them be and believe in the fact that they're trying to do the best to better themselves and the environment and the impact they have on the world. I think this whole narrative behind her attacking and trying to dismantle and pick apart other vegans is really sad. It's like, dude, just leave people alone. Let people live their lives. Even if somebody isn't vegan, that's not a reason to attack them, because at the end of the day, that's not gonna better your argument. It's just gonna turn people away from the movement and be like, wow, that person's really fucking rude and a really awful person, so I guess I just shouldn't be vegan. Because honestly, when that vegan teacher attacks me by basically telling me to go kill myself, I mean, it's like, dude, seriously? That doesn't make me want to associate myself with vegans. Are you trying to convert people to veganism? Or are you trying to scare people away to make it an exclusive club for yourself because you want to feel like an elitist person? You know, we're gonna watch the video, but I think it's funny because there was one moment where she said that I'm an elitist. Bitch, you're literally excluding every single possible person from being a vegan. You, if anything, are the pinnacle of trying to be an elitist. I wanted to make this video because it's important to say that vegan teacher nutritionally abuses her dog and whatever other animal she has. And she's also giving out very, very, very bad nutritional advice to pet owners.
Bella is my vegan dog. She's been vegan since August 2017. And look, she's perfectly healthy. And right now, she's gonna get a little treat, which is a piece of apple.
What I will never understand, though, is why many vegans and vegetarians think it's okay to force their personal viewpoints, their personal dietary choices onto their dog or cat. Humans, Homo sapiens, are omnivores, meaning our bodies can digest plant material and animal tissues both. Dogs and cats are carnivores, which means they are meat eaters and they don't digest plant material very efficiently at all. Dogs are scavenging carnivores and kitties are obligate carnivores, and nature designed the bodies of carnivores to thrive on nutrients provided by animal flesh and organ meat.
You are nutritionally abusing and depriving your dog of the nutrients they should be getting in their daily diet by feeding them any form of vegan or vegetarian kibble. And I knew when I uploaded my last video, which if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I put a week's worth of veterinary interviews and advice and studies into that video. It's very well backed by science, vet techs, and my own personal veterinarian. So this video took a very long time to put out. I go over all types of dog food, including vegan and vegetarian in there. And one thing I mentioned at the end is I talked about why I feed my dogs a fully raw diet as a vegan. Because I have dogs that are rescues, it's my responsibility that I took on as a vegan to take the best possible care of these animals. And that does not mean giving them a food where they're going to survive on it. Just because an animal can survive eating that food doesn't mean it's good for them. And they can have and will have nutritional deficiencies that come up in their life along the way.
And surviving means just that they can get by consuming some plant material or an abundance of plant material, or in this situation, all plant material, but they will never healthfully live a long lifespan as they should, and they will have medical and degenerative conditions along the way. To thrive means to grow rigorously or to flourish, which doesn't happen when you feed carnivores as vegetarians or vice versa. If you make a vegetarian animal, let's say a rabbit, into a carnivore. Dogs and cats are super resilient. They're really strong animals, so you actually can nutritionally abuse them and they don't die instantaneously. Their bodies degenerate over time, but because they can withstand nutritional abuse, it doesn't make it okay to do it, in my opinion.
So you should absolutely not feed your dog a vegan or vegetarian diet, and you should absolutely not feed a cat a vegan or vegetarian diet. Cats are obligate carnivores, which means that they have to have meat in their diet. You cannot substitute it with other types of protein. It has to be animal protein. And you can look up any veterinary studies on this. Anybody who is feeding their cats a vegan or vegetarian diet, you are straight up abusing your animal. But second of all, dogs are scavenging carnivores, which means that they can survive on plant products, but they don't process it well. And not to mention, vegan and vegetarian kibble is basically no better for the environment because it's produced in the same factory facilities that produce other types of meat kibble, which are emitting the same carbon emissions into the atmosphere. So I don't really understand why she got so heated at me, basically telling me towards the end of the video to go kill myself over feeding my dogs a nutritionally adequate diet. I mean, seriously, like, I have to put my own morals and ethics aside and realize that I took on the responsibility to take the best possible care of my animals. Obviously, would I want to feed my dogs a vegan diet? Yes, but that doesn't make me feel better at the end of the day, knowing that my dogs are the ones suffering because I don't want to feed them what they should be eating. So now that I have that rant out of the way, I just want to say that I really did put a lot of work into this video, and if you guys want to go watch it, but I am not at all surprised that that vegan teacher responded. You know, I literally made a comment at the end of the video. Raleigh, stop stealing animals' lives. I love the piece of paper. You fail. I'm a speciesist, a hypocrite, lies about being vegan, encourages stealing eggs. When did I do that? Encourages stealing animals, encourages stealing lives, is elitist and snobby, pays for murder, makes money on YouTube while encouraging animal suffering? Bitch, I can't tell if she's trolling or not. Like, I literally can't tell. Literally, all I do on this channel is advocate for the better treatment and care of animals. That's all I do.
Hello students, welcome to class. Today we are evaluating Raleigh Link 14. Unfortunately, she failed. She's a speciesist, a hypocrite. She lies about being vegan. She encourages stealing eggs. She encourages stealing animals. She encourages stealing lives. She's elitist and snobby. She pays for murder, and she makes money on YouTube while encouraging animal suffering. Dogs don't want to die, but they also don't want all of their friends to be murdered so that they can have dog food.
Dogs in the wild are scavenging carnivores. If you were to turn even domesticated dogs out into the wild, as all studies have shown, they would be scavenging carnivores, which means that dogs would eat meat. The whole purpose of giving your animal the best possible life, being a vegan, is to replicate as much as possible the type of life that dog would have in the wild. Isn't this what we were arguing about a few weeks ago when they were saying that horses should be in the wild and they shouldn't be in domesticated settings because they can't live natural lives? Dogs are in the same position. We can't just relinquish all dogs to the wild, so it's our responsibility to give them the best possible life. And I think it's really hypocritical critical of her to say that horses should try to live the best life possible, replicated as to what they would have in the wild, but dogs shouldn't. Dogs in the wild are scavenging carnivores, so doesn't that mean, by your own logic, if you weren't being a hypocrite, that we should feed dogs what they would eat in the wild to give them the most similar quality life? Dude, you're gonna come at me when you are the biggest fucking hypocrite on the internet.
But Raleigh Link 14 thinks, no, it's okay. Dogs need to have raw meat, and so therefore we should be killing other animals. You know, locally, like this little bunny. That's what she thinks is okay. I am against killing. I am against hurting innocent lambs. I don't think it's okay to take babies away from their mothers and murder them and give them to any of these dogs.
It's not okay to give dogs the adequate diet they should have to live the appropriate life that they should live and live healthy and thrive. So it's okay to nutritionally abuse dogs because you're vegan. It's okay to cause dogs early deaths and medical problems for the rest of their lives because you're vegan. I thought vegans were supposed to care about their animals, but for some reason, vegans don't give a fuck about their dogs or cats, because if you're feeding your dog or cat a vegan diet, you are nutritionally abusing them. You are depriving them of the adequate diet they should be eating.
Would you honestly be able to take a knife and cut the head off of this animal to feed it to your dog? Raleigh thinks it's okay, even though vegan dog food exists, and you can just add water to it, and you can supplement with fresh fruits and vegetables. No, Raleigh Link thinks that's not good enough.
Adding water to vegan dog food doesn't change anything. It doesn't make the quality of the dog kibble any more nutritious for the dog. Adding fresh fruits and vegetables to your dog's kibble is not the same as fresh meats, which is what dogs need nutritionally. They need all the nutrients that come in raw whole meats. And trust me, this was a dilemma that I struggled with. I struggled with feeding my dogs raw for a very long time. But then I realized that I had to set aside my differences and my beliefs. Just because I chose to be vegan doesn't mean my dogs chose to be vegan. My dogs are just dogs, and it's not okay for me to push my beliefs onto my dogs and make them live a nutritionally deficient life because I'm vegan.
Raleigh Link thinks that we should kill baby ducks, steal them away from their mothers, and feed them to the dog, even though this dog does not necessarily want that. This dog would be perfectly happy eating the vegan kibble.
Dogs don't understand the difference between nutritionally good and bad food, but humans do. And it's the responsibility of humans to give your dogs the most nutritionally adequate food for them that they would eat in the wild. Dogs should not be eating vegan or vegetarian kibble, and I think it's really dangerous that she's promoting this to people. This is going to create so many deficiencies in dogs long term. I mean, my God, we don't even have long-term studies to show the negative effects to dogs on vegan and vegetarian diets because they're so new. Putting anybody's dog on a vegan or vegetarian diet when they are literally carnivorous animals is so dangerous. And it's also really, really negligent and abusive. Just because you're vegan does not mean that you should be forcing every single animal in your care to be vegan.
That's called kindness. It's called compassion. There's no reason to kill a lamb and feed a lamb to a dog. This dog can live perfectly happily by eating the vegan kibble.
No, and that's so dangerous to be putting that information out there. Just because dogs and cats are really resilient animals and you can nutritionally abuse them and they don't die instantaneously does not mean that it's good for them. They're still going to have a lot of health problems pop up throughout their life because they are not eating the appropriate diet. I think it's so dangerous and so wrong to be saying that to people because you could literally be putting other people's animals at risk of dying or starving or being nutritionally deprived, and you're calling yourself an animal activist, but yet you're encouraging this when there's almost no science to back up the healthy lives of dogs eating vegan or vegetarian foods.
Why pay for murder if you don't have to?
I feel like I do have to pay for meat because that's what I took on when I decided to rescue and bring these animals into my life, is to give them the life that they deserve. And I feel like it is my responsibility to buy that for them. It's not a choice. It's what they need to be eating.
Not okay. Raleigh, you should be ashamed of yourself for pretending to be vegan.
Oh, pretending to be vegan, guys. I've been pretending to be vegan for 5 years. Oh, God. I think it's really terrifying whenever anybody forces somebody else to be vegan, whether it's their dogs, their cats, their children. I think being vegan is a personal choice that every human being should make on their own, and you should not subject other species to being vegan just because you are, if that's not their adequate diet that they need to be eating.
Why love one but eat the other? There's no reason for it. Why love one but eat the other? There's no reason for it. Raleigh Link 14 failed. She's a speciesist. She's a hypocrite. She lies about being vegan because vegans protect animals. They never advocate for doing the wrong thing.
Oh my God, you literally just said I'm a hypocrite. That is so hypocritical. You are advocating for doing the wrong thing. You are advocating for people to nutritionally abuse their animals. Like, you're gonna sit there and call me a hypocrite when you are seriously doing the most hypocritical shit of any vegan I've ever seen.
Nobody wants to kill this dog and feed this dog to this cat. There is something called vegan dog food and vegan cat food. And if it can be done, we must strive as hard as possible to do the least harm globally to all of the animals.
Sure, if it could be done, sure, but it can't be done. And feeding kibble of any kind to your dog or your cat is nutritionally depriving them, and also adding a myriad of different carcinogens into their diet and into their body. If you are a vegan and you feed your cat vegan, you are abusing your animal because cats are obligate carnivores. You cannot feed cats a vegan diet. Point blank period, no. Dogs might be able to survive on it for a few years, but cats will die on a vegan diet, and this is scientifically proven. You cannot do it, so don't do it. This vegan is putting out the most animal abusive advice I've ever heard in my life. I mean, seriously, if you are a vegan, put your differences aside and feed your animals the appropriate diet they need to be eating, not what you think they should be eating to make you feel better.
It's wrong to put pigs in gas chambers, Raleigh. You call your animal yours in quotations, but in fact, animals don't belong to us. They're here on the planet with us, not for us.
Right, which is literally, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking care of my animals, which is what you're not doing. And also, by referring to my animal as mine, I'm not referring to them as in like I own them. I'm referring to them as my animals by saying it's my responsibility to care for them. What the fuck are you talking? She is such a troll. I love it.
Leave animals the fuck alone, Raleigh. Raleigh, you failed. Raleigh encourages stealing lives. Raleigh is elitist and snobby because she says you should buy dead animals locally. But not everybody can afford to do that, Raleigh. Not everybody has as much money as you do. Not everybody makes money off of YouTube the way that you do, encouraging this horrific crime to take place.
I buy my meat locally at my local farmer's market because I like knowing where the meat comes from, and I like actually knowing how the animals live. If I'm going to buy meat of any kind as a vegan, I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that those animals are living a good quality life and that I know where they're coming from. I know what quality of meat I'm getting for my dogs. And if I have to spend a little bit extra money to buy organically grown, locally sourced meats from my local farmers instead of supporting factory farming where the animals live miserable fucking lives, I would rather do that. And I understand at the end of the day, they're slaughtered, and I get that, and that fucking sucks, and I don't agree with that, but that's what my dogs need to be eating. However, I never said that everyone has to do that. I said that's what I do because I'm a vegan, and I want to make the most ethically responsible choice for the position that I am put in. because I have to feed my dogs this diet. This is what they need nutritionally. So I want to make the lowest impact on the environment and the best impact on the animals as possible. However, anybody who feeds their dogs raw can feed whatever type of raw food from wherever it is that they want to feed. I wasn't saying that to be elitist. I was saying that to go over my own morals and ethics behind my decision-making process. And also, she's saying I get paid from YouTube. First of all, YouTube is not my job. I make money elsewhere and I own my own business. But second of all, the money I do make from YouTube is off my educational videos where I talk about and educate people on the better healthcare and treatment of animals. You know, you're literally making videos off of dragging other vegans down and bullying people into not being vegan. So who's the more ethical person here? Because you're literally trying to destroy other vegans from being vegan and create your own elitist group of vegans.
Raleigh, if you really think that your dog needs to eat flesh, needs to chew on a bone, needs to eat muscle, ligaments, and tendons, if you really think that your dog needs raw meat, then what about looking down at your own hand? Do you see 5 fingers there? Did you ever consider, perhaps, cutting off one of them and giving them to your dog? I mean, if you really think that your dog absolutely needs flesh, why do you think it's okay to leave some animals intact and not others? Why do you think that that seems crazy to you? You'd be perfectly willing to cut the foot off of a duck or a chicken and feed that to a dog. What about your own hand?
I can't. Rain, are you listening? So vegan teacher told me to cut off my own hand to feed to you guys. Are you guys okay with that? Is that acceptable? Yeah. You want me to cut off my hand? Let's do it. I really just don't know where to start. I don't know what's the best part to cut off on my hand. So, you know, I guess we're just gonna go at the wrist, and hopefully this is enough meat and bone and, you know, tissue for my dogs, even though, you know, I don't think it's gonna be nutritionally adequate. And, you know, me dying might actually prevent my dogs from having further meals in the future, but fuck it, because Karen's always right? All right. That's just the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard. It's not even a response, because it's my responsibility to take proper care of my animals, and I have to be there to feed them for the rest of their life. Saying to me that, like, I need to cut off my own hand and, like, other body parts to feed my animals is really stupid. I really can't with her, and I think her arguments at this point are just so outlandish that I can't even respond to it because it's just dumb. I mean, seriously, who's gonna tell somebody to cut off their hand to feed their dog? And also, no, vegan and vegetarian diets are not adequate. And the last thing I'm gonna say is that anybody watching this video, go watch my last video, because I go in depth on the dog food industry, vegan, vegetarian, and feeding raw meat, and why I do it. And if you wanna be educated, go watch it, so that way you can educate yourself on how to not nutritionally deprive your dog of what they need to be eating. Don't listen to her. If you want to be properly educated, subscribe to this channel and I will educate you, okay? Because I try very, very hard to make sure the information I put out in my videos is accurate. And although I do get some information wrong from time to time, I try very hard to make sure everything I say is backed up by science, unlike that vegan teacher who is just putting out a bunch of minutia and muddying the waters and trying to make it impossible for anybody to be vegan. And she's also turning more people away from veganism, and she's also encouraging people to nutritionally abuse their animals. But you know what, Karen? My last thing that I have to say to you is, if you don't want to consider me a vegan, that's fine with me. You know what? From here on out, you don't have to consider me a vegan. That does not affect me one way or another, and I'm gonna keep calling myself vegan because I know that I hold myself to that high moral and ethical standard, a standard that you don't even hold yourself to because you're abusing your animal. I feel like it's more vegan to give my animal the diet they should be eating than to deprive them of that to make myself feel better at the end of the day. being vegan is putting my animals first, and that's what I believe in, and that's what I'm doing. So I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please go check out my other one, and also make sure to go head over to Link Equestrian. We also do monthly giveaways on the Instagram and Facebook, so those are linked down below as well. And I'll see your beautiful faces in my next video. Bye.